In this video, I'll be talking about CSS3 transitions. CSS3 transitions. Okay, so we'll start by creating our HTML basic structure. Let me add more screen here. CSS basic structure. Shift this. Okay. Now, let me remove this. Now, inside our body, I'll make use of a div. I'll use a div, and inside the div, I'll give it a class. I want to make use of class. Okay. So let me say something like div elements. Then inside the div element, inside the div first tag, I will create a class, and I'll give it a class name of trans. Let me just give trans. Let me just use the class name trans in a short form. Okay. Then let me make my external CSS. Let me say my external CSS link it. Okay, so if you don't know how to do that, watch my CSS insert video and you will understand it better. So inside the CSS now, we'll do one or two things. First of all, let me give this div a general property and value. So let me call the div elements. Inside div elements, open this curly brace, open this declaration block. Then let me give it a width of let me give it width. Let me say width of let me say 200. Then height of let me give it height of let me see whether I can do it at least 1/4 of that width. Let me do, which is 50. I'm supposed to put pixels, 20 pixel and 50 pixels, 200 by 50 pixel. Then let me see background and see the outputs. Use background color. Let me use brown. Then let me refresh. You can see the size. It's like I will reduce it a little bit. Let me reduce the width to 100. Let me reduce it to 100. See, yeah, I think this one makes sense. But let me reduce it small. Let me make it 80, so it will reduce small. Okay, it's now reduced. Okay, so I've given it a general given a general I've given the div element a general property and value. So I will not target this div, the div that I gave the class name trans. Okay, so to call that class, you say dot trans. Open a declaration block. So inside this declaration block now, I will add few properties. I've already have this one. Then have, what if I make it I really want to add it. I think, given it, since I have only one div, no need of doing this thing. I'll use this class. I really need it. I really need, all I have to do now, I'll give it a transition. Even this div and this thing is the same thing. This class is of no use to me for now. Let me see what else. Since I'm using this thing to illustrate, let me remove this class and use only div elements. If I have more than one div, I will be using class. So let me not go a long process trying to explain simple thing. So inside this div, let me add another property. There's a property in the transition itself. Okay, then we use the transition property called transition duration. If you have been following my other video, you would have seen I have been calling the transition property. So let me say transition duration. Let me give it 3 seconds, 3s. Okay, so I have added what I need now. So let me come down and use hover. Let me say hover. If I use hover, I will say div. A hover is a pseudo class. Then I'll call the class, which the name is hover. I will make use of hover. Okay, then open a declaration block. Inside there, then I will give it what I want to happen when I hover over this image, when I hover over this div here. So let me say what I want to do. I want to increase it so it will act like as if the thing is loading something. So let me increase the width. Okay, since we have 80 width here and it stops here, so let's say 80 plus 80, another 80. If we add another 80 to stop, which is 160, and another 80 to stop here, which is 160 plus 80 will be giving us 240. Then another one, if we add another 60 here, 300, another one, and another one here, okay, which means I'm using about, let me say 360. Let me use width 360 and see what happens. Width, let me say 360. Okay, 360 pixel. So let me hover over it and see what happens. You can see what happened. It looks like something that is loading. You can see it's something that is loading. Okay, so having said that, add something. Let me make it look a little bit beautiful. Let me just add, let me say border, and let me make it look like a loading this thing. Let me say border, let me give it say 2em, 2em, solid. Okay, no, it's supposed to be separate. It's loading with the it's not supposed to. No, I want this. Let me not waste my time. Let me not do this. Not it will take us a little bit time to do. So going forward, you can see when I hover over this thing, it's the effect of hover, and then these properties applied to the div by hovering on the div, and then it takes 3 seconds for this thing to load. So if I increase the, let me add more this thing so it will reach to the end. Let me say 400 here. Let me see what happens. Not enough. How about 450? Not even enough. How about 47? I want it to reach to the end. It's supposed to be maybe not 490. We do that. It will reach to the end. Perfect. So it's at the end now. Okay. So the next thing I will do now, I will. Okay, I think I'm done with this. So everything I'll be adding it inside this div. Since we have only one div, if we have more than one div, we will illustrate it by using class. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about is called transition. This one is transition duration. The one I want to talk about is transition delay. So what that one does, that when you hover over this, instead of the thing will not start immediately, it will take it. Okay, let me just type it first. Um a value of seconds, value of seconds. So any value of seconds you add to you give to it, if you hover over the image with that time, that seconds will count down for before this animation will start. So now let's do that. Let's say transition delay. Here is, let me just select, I don't want to, let me just select it. Let me give it let me say 2 seconds, 2s. Okay, so if I hover over this image now, if I hover over this image, it will not move immediately. It will wait for 2 seconds before it loads. Okay, let's try that and see. You can see before it loads, it waits for 2 seconds before it loads. Okay, how about, let me make it 3 seconds so it will look more. Let me allow it to load. Okay, now let me hover over it. 1, 2, 3. You can see it moves. So this transition delay, it will make the object will wait. When you hover over the image, it will not move. It will not react immediately. It will wait for 3 seconds it's before it animates the transition of this 3 seconds, which is before this transition duration will occur. Okay, having said that, even as self, I can even add some color, because this color that is over now, I need to let me add some color here. let me say something like let me leave it at 1 seconds. Then let me give a display, let me give a background color when the thing will be translating, so it will have changed to another different color. Let me use this aqua, see what it gives me. Okay, okay, this one looks nice. It looks nice, but it's not that. Let me add this in a border so it will be, let me just add that border so it will be more visible. Border, inside the border, let me add let me say 1 em solid, solid, no need of giving it blank. Okay, 1 em seems to be too big. Let me say 0.4. Let's see. Yeah, I think this one makes sense. If I hover over it now, okay, that's very nice. Okay, so the next I'll be talking about is another thing I'll be talking about now is height effects, because what we are doing, this one is going horizontal. So I want to, let me, before I proceed to the next property, let me just use length, height here, so you can see the effect. Let me see height, height inside this height. Let's see what happens. What we have here is 50, so let's hover over it and see what happens. It will drop down. You can see this. Okay, so but if you change it to width, it will go this way. Then if you change it to height, it will come down. Okay, so that's it for height effect. Okay, so moving on, I'll be talking about there's this thing called transition timing function. It have about, I think, 5 values. So I would just want to talk about is what it just does. Those values affect the way the image moves. Most of the time, when you hover over the image, it will start slow and then move fast. Sometimes it will just be slow all through. Sometimes it will just move fast. Before the end, it will slow down before you end. So let me just talk about those values. I think it's a little bit important. So let me type in transition timing function. Look at it down here. Transition timing function. Okay, so it's the first value is okay, is, let me reduce this my delay. Let me leave it at, let me just leave it, let me just leave it empty. So let's see, I want it to start to move immediately, so we'll see what I meant. You can see this one is okay. The speed starts slowly, then fast, and then it now moves, as in with somewhere in the center here, it moves slowly up until somewhere in the center, then move fast before before the end it slow down. Okay, let's do that again. You see what I meant. I use ease, so let me hover over it again. You can see it's move with speed, and then so in the center it slow down, then speed up. Okay, then the second one, the next one is linear, linear, linear. Let's see what this one does. Let me see. Because this one, what I've seen, this one have the same uniform speed, just move the same way, no delay before, no delay, and no change in speed, just straight away. It starts with the same speed and end, as in from the beginning to the end, start with the same speed and from beginning to the end. Okay, let me call another one. I think another one is that should be, that is ease out and easy. Yeah, ease out, think is, yeah, look at it, ease in. Let me start with, let me do easy in first. I think this easy in the transition, I think, what does it do, this one really do? Let me go over it and see the effect. I really forget this. Let me over it and see. Okay, okay, so it starts slowly based on what I'm seeing. It starts slowly then and ends slowly. Okay, okay, it starts slowly, and let me see, it starts slowly, very slow, and then before it get down, it speed up. It always starts slowly. You can see very slow. This thing is not that I don't know how to say this now. The thing is not that um it's not that noticeable. It's not that noticeable. But the thing is really effective, but it's not that noticeable. Okay. Let me make this thing faster. Let me see whether this thing will be more effective if I do it 5 seconds. Let's see. Start slow and then somewhere in the middle is not fast. Okay. So the effect is there, but it's not that visible. Like it's not that too visible, but it's there. It's noticeable, but it's not that noticeable as such. Okay. So the next one I'll be using is ease out. Ease ease out. This down one. Then I will do the ease in out. The last one. Okay. I think this one, since this one starts, this is ease in, slow down at the beginning. This ease out will slow down towards the end. That's what it will probably do. Yeah, towards the end you can see very slow. Yeah. So this one before the end, somewhere in the end there, it slows down. Okay. So the one is the last one, which is the fifth value is I think ease in and out. Yeah, ease in out. Okay, let's hover over and see what happens. Okay, let's hover and see. Okay, let me observe it again because this thing is too is not that it's too this thing. Let me observe and see. Let me do it again. Let me know that I can grab this. Okay, what I'm noticing, it's slowing down at the end. Before the end is slowing down. Let me see what happens from the beginning again. I observe it's slowing down at the end. Then okay. So what this one does is when it starts from the start, it will slow down. Somewhere in the middle, it speed up. Before the end, it slow down, which is slow at the beginning and slow at the end. Okay. So this is for CSS what is it called? Um, transition timing, CSS3 transition timing function. Okay, so there are places you will need them. Okay, they are there for a reason, not just every, but there's a places that you will need them. Okay, so having said that, I think we have come to an end of our CSS3 transition. Okay, so thank you for watching. See you in the next video.